You can go ahead.
All right, great. Well, hi everyone. Welcome to ProJourno's second Food Studies webinar. This one focused on food studies in Europe. My name's Kaylee Burgess and I'll be moderating today's discussion. We're going to start today's discussion with Dr. Sehested from Aarhus University, where he is the Program Director for Agrobiology and Program Director for Sustainable Animal Nutrition. The program at Aarhus is part of a four-university program called EuroOrganic that offers a master's in organic food chains. If you're new to ProJourno, the organization is a journalism incubator focused on the business and economical aspects behind today's societal challenges. And this particular focus on food issues and global food affairs is funded by Mercator Foundation Switzerland, and they will be participating in the webinar as well, just as a viewer and asking questions as we go. So we can go ahead and get started. Thank you, Dr. Sehested, for joining us.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
We will also probably be joined by another professor in a moment, Dr. Flukiger, from Zurich University of Applied Sciences, where he teaches agricultural sustainability. For now, Dr. Sehested, could you tell us a little bit about your research and the EuroOrganic program at your university, and what makes it unique, and just a little bit about what it does?
Well, the program we offer in organic agriculture is an international master's program, and it's very unique in it's a joint program by four universities. So the Aarhus University here in Denmark, the Hohenheim University in Germany, BOKU in Austria, and the Warsaw University in Poland. So we joined forces, integrating our specialization and in-depth research in a really strong international program on organic agriculture. So what our basis here at Aarhus University is very much driven by organic agriculture having a great part of the agricultural production, forming a great part, a large part of the agricultural production in Denmark, also driven by the research or demanding some research in developing it, and very much into livestock farming, but also crop production. But really where we have a lot of research is in livestock farming. Yeah.
Okay. So one of our focuses on covering global food issues has been on organic production and the role of organics in today's food systems. And it sounds like that's a lot of what your work looks at as well. Do you have any findings on the role of organics or the potential for organics in modern food production, industrial food production, in Denmark or more generally?
Well, I think some of the very large issues in modern food production is about sustainability, resource use efficiency, animal welfare, product quality and safety, and those are really also core aspects of the organic production. So even though the whole organic or the whole food production is moving that way towards addressing those issues, organic agriculture is kind of leading the way by having those issues in its core of the ideas behind it. Yeah.
I think that's a really optimistic view. I hope that that's true. That that food production is moving in that direction. That's where it's headed, is towards this more maybe organic, holistic approach. So part of our audience for the food studies webinars is people who are interested in potentially pursuing graduate degrees in food studies. And so we were really curious to ask our participants, to ask you a little bit more about who your students are and where they go when they finish, what kind of work they're engaging in when they finish their master's degrees.
Well, it's a quite new program. So we only have few students finished at the moment, so I really don't have any good statistics. I can say a little where within the Our national program is named Agrobiology, as you said, and it's also taught in English, so all our master's programs are taught in English at Aarhus University. But where our candidates go is some go into research, quite a large proportion actually at the moment. We have very good students. Some go into the advisory service, so that is supporting primary agriculture. Some goes into public administration, NGOs, private companies. So it's very much about developing and supporting the development of organic food production and food production in general.
Yeah. So we have found that the food movement and awareness of food issues has really increased in the past several years, particularly in the US. I don't know if you have found the same to be true in Europe, or if you all have a longer history of looking at food studies and food issues. Have you found that over the past few years or the past decade that attention on food issues has increased?
Sure. Food issues attention on food issues have increased in the public.
Yeah.
Very much more increased focus on food quality. That also includes kind of animal welfare, food safety, and in an interest in how the food is produced. So when we also in general teach primary agricultural production, it is presented and taught in the framework of food production, because that's basically what it is. And also it has, during the recent years, this has been reflected in our research in general. I'm an animal scientist, and also my colleagues in other aspects of research. So what I mean, the food quality and safety aspects are always part of our projects to some extent. Some will more or less, but that has changed. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So has it affected your work in terms of anything from access to grant funding to a sense of an academic community to like who your students are? How has it changed sort of your day-to-day as a scholar and researcher?
Well, it certainly changed my life as a scientist, because both the funders of different kinds, if it's private companies or if it's public funding, there's always a demand for also taking care of the perspective of sustainability, product quality, and so on and so forth. But also it changed in the studies programs. So now, as I just described before, the perspective of food quality, environmental impact, resource use efficiency, sustainability are very important aspects of our teaching. So always integrated in kind of all aspects of animal physiology, nutrition, or crop production, or whatever. It's always important aspects. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Over the last 6 months, as ProJourno has covered global food issues, we've really focused on, as the name suggests, international food issues. So everything from policy in India to production in Korea. Really, we've looked across the globe. And so I've been asking our panelists about their work in terms of a domestic focus versus an international focus, and if there's overlap for you between the two.
There's a lot of overlap. As I described, your organic program is an international master's program.
Yeah.
Also, of course, both the science behind the problems we are kind of facing in food production in general, so sustainability, environmental impact, they are kind of cross-boundary problems. Likewise, the food quality, well, if we don't produce the food ourselves, we import, and it's important then how other countries, people produce the food. So certainly the international perspective is very important. But also, well, I know Denmark is a small country, so we always have an international perspective. We cannot be on our own always, although we are a major food exporter in the world.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's interesting. What are your primary exports?
Well, all over, I think. It differs. We have kind of the world's largest export of pork meat. We have a very huge production of milk products going Asia, Middle East, yeah, important markets, but all over, really. But also in Europe.
Sorry, I'm just having a bit of a hard time hearing you. I'm going to transition just a little bit here. All right, thanks for your patience. Great, this is much better. So now I think I can actually focus in on what we're talking about. So, as we've mentioned a little bit, and it has come up as a theme as we've started talking, is the nutritional physiology of animals, is livestock, which is where your research is focused. But being a very specific research focus, it's also tied to this broader program of organic food chain.
Yeah.
And so I was hoping we could talk a little bit more about tying that in and making that explicit for your students as part of a broader food systems issue.
Oh yeah, well, you know, we have. This is our educations at master level are very much research based, and that means a lot of my colleagues, we are coming in with our different expertise and tying in our research into the teaching of the programs. So it's not just my research or the very narrow focus I have there, but in general our research is the basis. Well, animal physiology and nutrition is basically not different in organic or conventional production systems. But there is the special challenge of producing within the constraints of an organic frame or in an organic production system, and of course that is part of my research and that is part of my teaching. So issues like which are big in organic production, like 100% supply of organically produced feed, including also minerals and vitamins and stuff like that. The very important issue of having access to high quality organic protein sources, those for feed and food, are very essential. So when we go into, when I do research into more detailed aspects of nutritional physiology of the animals, that will also be set into a perspective. What does that then mean if you are in a setting with an organic production or other kinds of production systems? Because yeah, there are always constraints and possibilities. So that is where the knowledge of the students also should be applied. And that's what we do. It's a very applied education in that respect, that all the theory and in-depth knowledge of physiology, nutrition, and whatever is put into this applied perspective.
Oh, good, good. What are you most excited about right now in your research and or your work as director of this new program? What do you see as the possibilities? What do you just think is at the forefront of the work that you're doing?
Oh, well, I think I'm right now working myself on what you see a different concept of milk production, which would also fit very well into the organic. It's not a specific organic project, but it's very much about resource use efficiency and environmental impact of dairy cows. So we are trying to set up different systems, different feed concepts where you use precision farming and technology really to support a much more efficient system with a better animal welfare and high production at the same time. So I'm very much excited about those aspects. I have another project in the alternative protein sources. It's not specifically organic, but it's using alternative locally produced protein sources, so it is kind of relevant to both conventional and organic farming.
Yeah.
Ah, hello, Dr.
Hello.
Flueckiger. Welcome.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you guys. Thank you. Bye bye. Sorry. I'm here. We had a problem.
Yeah. Good. Well, we're so glad that you're here. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Is it Dr. Flueckiger? No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Can you?
Is it pronounced Dr. Flueckiger?
Is it? It is. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, we have. Welcome. We've been speaking with Dr. Sehested about his work in agrobiology.
Yeah.
And his work as director of the Aarhus University program that's part of Your Organics Master in Organic Food Chain. So
You're welcome.
let's see. We should figure out how to loop you in. What we were just talking about is what Dr. Sehested is most excited about in his research and teaching right now, and perhaps you could join us by answering that question as well. Maybe do a brief introduction of who you are and what sort of work you do, and then what you're most excited about.
Okay. So I'm a lecturer in the Swiss University of Applied Science. I'm a lecturer for agriculture economics and sustainability, and perhaps I will say something to our university. Our university is one of the leading Swiss University of Applied Science with around 10,000 students currently enrolled, and the university is located in 3 different places. One place is here in Wädenswil. Our campus is on the left bank of the Lake of Zurich, and several institutes are here. Our institute, the Institute of Natural Resource Science, is the biggest, with about 190 employees and about 170 students beginning each year. In our institute includes 18 research groups. One of them is our research group, Geography of Food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you for the introduction. The Geography of Food sounds really fascinating. We have a similar program here at Indiana University within our geography department, where people are looking at the geography of food. Would you be able to perhaps tell us a little bit more about what the geography of food is and what your program looks at?
Yeah, of course. So, first of all, I start with the degree program, Natural Resource Science. This degree program is one of several degree programs in our university, besides of other programs as biotechnology, chemistry, food technology, all of them dealing with food. So in this degree program, the students can choose 5 specifications. One is organic agriculture and horticulture. One is landscape education and tourism. One is renewable resources and sustainable energy. The 4th, natural management, and the 5th, urban greening. Our research group, Geography of Food, offers a variety of courses, lectures, research, and services in the broad area of food science, And so we have students of all of these 5 specifications. And perhaps a last information, our research group is very new. It was founded 3 years ago, and in the next year, from 2015, we will offer also a minor program. It includes global food systems, labeling, and sustainable life cycle issues. So we have 5 majors and now 1 minor, which is exactly which highlights the food issue of our research group.
That's great. So it sounds like your program began in the last 3 years, you said, and Dr. Sehes said you said that the Organic program is fairly new as well, correct? That's begun in the past several years.
Yeah.
Which seem like both offer a good indicator of what we were talking about a little earlier, that, you know, food studies has really taken off as interest from the public has grown in the origins of their food and how food is produced. The academic potential for these studies has increased as well. And so it seems like this is a really exciting time to be working in food studies. Dr. Pflueger, could you tell us a little bit more about your students, who your students are? And it sounds like, so if the program began in the last 3 years, you may have only had 1 class of students graduate. But if you could tell us a little bit about where your students are going when they graduate, I think that might be interesting for the audience of the webinar.
Yeah, so in Switzerland I can summarize the circumstances. Our students, because of the environmental markets are rapidly evolving and highly dynamic in Switzerland, I think in your country as well, and the economy becomes more sustainability oriented, and many new jobs are being created for students with a bachelor degree in natural resource science, whether in private companies, public administration, non-profit organizations, or as a self-employed entrepreneur. So after 6 semesters with their bachelor, because of their professional qualification and thanks to the practical orientation of the degree program, the students have many career opportunities in the agri and food business. Along the value chain, many well-known companies are located in Switzerland, such as Nestlé, Unilever, Migros, the biggest retailer, Coop, the second biggest retailer, Lindt & Sprüngli, and they offer really good jobs for our students in their sustainability department or procurement, consulting or research department. Our students, they are really happy to have to find a good circumstances in our labor market actually in Switzerland. Yeah.
That's interesting. We did this webinar. We did a webinar on food studies in the U.S. last week, and found that a lot of the programs were sort of regionally based in terms of where their students went. So the university near Washington, D.C., a lot of the students were focused on policy. The one that we spoke with, Stanford in California, and their students were often looking at technological solutions to food security challenges because they're right near the the hub of the tech industry. And so it sounds like a similar thing is happening here, where in Switzerland you have these large food corporations, and so a lot of students are going into the private sector whereas in Denmark, at this university, because of its focus, a lot of the students are going into research and things. So that your locations are really driving where your students are going. Would you agree that that seems to be the case?
Yes, that's the case. It's true. I mean, to go to the research sector in Switzerland, we're close to our place. Probably you know the Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich, and they have a large. They are much bigger than us in the research sector. So the students from there prefer more to go to the research sector. So our focus is more because we are a university of applied science. It means it's a success of our university. It's a brand to be close to the business. I mean, that is a kind of an opportunity for the students to during the program to be very business oriented and to have a good mixture between practice and theory.
Yeah, great. It seems like it also highlights how many facets there are to food studies. You know, Dr. Saha said, hearing you talk about organic production and the nutritional physiology of cattle, and then contrasting that with Dr. Flukiger, like geography of food and the business aspects of food, and all of these things are really working together to inform the food system and making a food system that functions better. So it's really exciting to hear. I'm curious to ask you both about, from your perspective, as these programs are so new, and you must be thinking about the next steps forward for your programs. Sort of what you think the potential is for moving forward. As I had written the question, I was thinking about it. What is missing from the programs, or what is missing from food studies right now? Where is the most potential for expanding and moving forward? Dr. Saha said, if you would like to start, do you have any thoughts?
Yes. Well, as we discussed earlier, our program is fairly new, only have run a few years, and between including leading European institutions like Hohenheim and BOKU and University of Warsaw, so also covering different aspects as the basic production of livestock and crops into food systems, food quality and market, where Warsaw have their kind of focus and strength. And so we're also taking in students with very different backgrounds. So coming from a socio-economic background, or coming from a strong science, biologically based background, maybe specialized in animals, crops, or, and we still are to see the potential developing from this broad program with very strong partners, but also from the very international. We are attracting very good students that are going for this program, and with very different backgrounds, and we are still striving to develop the potential from having those very different backgrounds together. Right now they can choose different specialization, use a background going on tracks. They have to have 2 universities as their basis. But really the interdisciplinary approach and getting the best from the difference between the students, or the strengths of the students, is something we would like to develop further. We see it as a strength, but it is also a challenge, but mainly a strength, I think. So right now we have no big plans for for changing the program. We are trying to expand also with a research program that is a research training for PhD students. So building on top of the master's program. But we really, you mentioned a lot of our students are going into research. That is certainly true about our national program. We don't really know about this international. People are coming from all over Europe, also in the world, broader. So we are still to see where they are going for their careers. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's an exciting time to be looking ahead and seeing what will be done with this new thing, because you really can't predict where the students will take it and the amount of ways that the knowledge can be applied. Dr. Flukiger, I would pose the same question to you. Where do you feel like the most potential is for moving forward? From your unique perspective, what is missing from the research and teaching on field studies, and by missing, thinking about it as what can we add? What should we be looking to as we move forward?
Yeah, comparing with my colleague, you are more focused to the organic sector, to the cattle research. So we have our focus is sustainability and food business. So that is really a strength to us that we try to improve this combination, food business, sustainability, and also global issues. So look, in Switzerland, two-thirds of the food is imported. So we will. Our focus is now about 50% global and 50% to Switzerland, to Swiss project. But I think this global focus will take a very important role in future. So we try to answer the following questions. General. How can food security be achieved? That is one issue. Or which labeling system and life cycle assessment methods could contribute to optimization of resource use and sustainability in agriculture? Or another question could be the evaluation of agri-food markets in the context of sustainability. So you see, we have our focus is the market, food market, but always in a strong context of sustainability. And in that field, we think that today the sustainability highlights more to the environmental question, and we try to introduce tools to measure the social and the economic aspects of sustainability. So we think that we can profit of this movement, that the business and administration, they need more these sustainable tools. That means sustainable in all three aspects.
Great, thank you. Again, it seems like a really exciting time to be studying these things, and so listening to you both talk about the evolution of it and where things are going is just really energizing and encouraging from a food studies perspective, or just from a layman's perspective. As someone in the general public interested in where my food comes from, it's exciting to know that so many people are looking at it in different ways and figuring out how to do it better. So the last question that I would pose to you both is, as a journalism incubator, ProJournal is obviously very interested in how to represent the business and economic aspects of society's challenges, and we've been looking at food studies. And so I'm curious where you all look to stay informed about food studies issues, And while I'm sure academic journals are a large part of that, I wonder if there are any mainstream media outlets that you look to for information on the state of food affairs.
Yeah. Who is to start?
You can start if you'd like.
You can start, please.
Okay. Thanks. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not at all the main teacher of the program, so it's not so relevant where I stay tuned. but
you know, curious.
But there's a lot of different fora. We have a center coordinating all organic research in Denmark with a very strong outreach part called ICROFS, which is also connected to a European network called Core Organic. So I get a lot of information from there. Then also the Canadians, they have quite some research in organic agriculture. So I stay tuned on their news, which is going out for farmers and researchers. And of course we have the Organic Farmers Union, you could say, in Denmark, which is having their own advisory service and development department, and sending out a newspaper and electronic news. So that's also a good place to stay tuned. Yeah.
Great.
Okay. So I think people need more information, more transparency, more environmental awareness, and information about the sustainability issue. So we need a strong, we need the media, we need to publish the research. So I think we have to this transfer of our research information, our research know-how, we have to transfer it to the society, and this is a big challenge. And yeah, so I think that we have a lot of still a lot of work to do. But can I ask a question to my colleague?
Sure.
Is that okay? So tell me, please. The last week I was at the conference about food security in Engelberg, and at the end of the conference, I think everybody realized that the future cannot be in 100% organic or 100% high industrial farm production, industrialized farm production. So it must be, the future must be a way, a compromise between organic and the traditional farming. What do you think about this question? Would you suggest that organic can be the way of the future for the global, for our planet, or do you think it will be a compromise between these two ways? What do you think?
Well, I see organic production as having some very high ideals about the concept of food production being sustainable, respectful to animal welfare, very paying high attention to product and food quality, and kind of the same issues are driving the conventional production. So I very much see organic production as a driver for the development of conventional production. So in that respect, I could agree with you. It will be a balance, but it's I don't think we have seen the perfect organic production system yet. It's a set of ideals which you would like to reach, and you continuously strive to reach, and we didn't reach them yet. But as we develop new tools and concepts within organic farming, they can of course also be applied in the more conventional farming. And if we look in back in 10 or 20 years perspective, at least in Europe and I'm sure all over the world, organic and conventional farming develops, being more sustainable, more resource use efficient, also because there's an economic driver to be so. So yes, I see it as a parallel development. The very difficult question if the world production can be organic. Well, we'll see. But we have to be we have to use our resources with care and be very aware about sustainability issues in both, and that's both environmental sustainability, resource use sustainability, economic sustainability, all kind of different sustainabilities. So yes, some kind of balance which is continuously developing.
Thank you.
Great, that was a great question. Thank you. Do you have a perspective on it from?
No, I'm happy that because at this conference you could see you have these true extreme positions, and I'm happy now that he said it can be a driver for this kind of development. So we will not end up in the future with these two extremes. So a kind of compromise will be the future solution. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. So we have just a few minutes before we wrap up, and I would love to check in and just see if we have any questions from our participants. Let's see. Okay, I think we are all set. I appreciate you both taking the time and joining us and figuring out how to join us despite a few technical difficulties. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you both and to get to hear your unique perspectives on the state of food studies and food systems issues. If you have any last thoughts, anything that I forgot to ask that you would really want everyone to know, please absolutely offer them here.
No, I'd just like to thank you. It has been a pleasure to take part, although the small difficulties in starting up. Do you have any idea how many participants we are having?
I don't know how many we currently have. What we're going to do is we are going to record this webinar and put it up on our ProJourno website.
Okay.
And I'll also do a short story, like a wrap-up of that we'll publish as well. So I will send you all links, and we will get this out there so that people can see what's going on.
Thank you.
And from my side, thank you very much. Kylene, you brought us together, my colleague and me, and I would like to keep in touch with him. I think I didn't know that in Denmark somebody is thinking about organic farming, because we only know the high input industrialized farming in Denmark. So I would keep in touch with him.
Thank you. That would be a pleasure. I can tell that in Denmark, 25% of all milk consumed is organic.
Oh, great.
Awesome. Good.
Okay.
Wonderful. Great. Well, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.